What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka what? That therapist. I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as what? Yellowbird Counseling. And y'all saw our little TikTok that we did. Had our little roll call TikTok, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We deep or whatever. We deep. But we cool though. I love those therapists. We do have a man. Somebody was giving me some shit about not having a man. We do have a man. He just could not make it. But I will be sure to introduce him to y'all. Okay, he will get his proper intro. He is number 6. And y'all will meet number 5. Y'all meet number 5 next week. I believe next week. I'll have to look at the schedule again. Y'all meet number 5 very soon. But number 5 is in the roll call TikTok video that we did. So anyways, for those of you that are new, for those of you that may not know what I do, every Thursday, and I'm late this week. Sorry, guys, tardy. It's every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, okay? But I had 2 EMDR sessions that I had to do for clients back to back, because I do EMDR. And sometimes those can run over because I can't just leave them like that. So, yeah, that's why I'm late. So, sorry, forgive me. Most of the time I'm not late. So, whatever. But, yeah, duty called. What I do is facilitate live discussions every Thursday evening to educate y'all on the reasons that you need a therapist and or counseling outside of just having a mental illness. For those of you that have been around for any amount of time, there's a difference between therapy and counseling, and you've seen the video where I told you. Basically, in short, because this is not what that live is about, therapy is if you do have a mental diagnosis, counseling is just for anybody. It's like life coaching that your insurance covers. But it has to be by a licensed therapist in order for it to be covered by your insurance. So, yeah, that's the long and short of it. But if y'all could, whether you're watching on the replay or in real time, if y'all could share this, because you know how I like to make sure that y'all are using words correctly. So we talked about boundaries versus ultimatums last week because y'all was loving that word ultimatum. Is you trying to give me an ultimatum? No, I'm just trying to state my boundaries, bitch. Like that's, so this week I want to talk about toxic because I just be hearing folks using that word like, oh, you're so toxic. Ow, toxic. Well, like, are you toxic though? So like, let's get into it. And if you know, you know, and that's all I'm going to say. If you know, you know. All right. But let's get into it. Y'all know I like to start with simple. What? Merriam-Webster Dictionary or Oxford Dictionary. Y'all know I like to start with definitions because folks love to argue ya. And so the best way to win an argument is to have facts. Okay? You got to have facts. Can't just be your opinion. So none of this is my opinion. I will insert my opinion and I will tell you when I insert my opinion. But if I have not said that it's my opinion, then it is something that I researched to its core. And I actually was able to locate the origin of the term toxic people or toxic relationships. So I was able to locate the origin, and so I will give you that as well. Because guess what? What do we do at Yellowbird? We get to the root. We get to the root of the problem. Okay, so we can pull that root up, and we can be what? Successful, productive members of society who are a contribution to health and happiness and not a part of the problem. That's what we do here at Yellowbird. We are what? Providing strength, supporting hope. Okay, so there's that. All right, so let's get started. So what does it even mean to be toxic? All right, so to be toxic, that means it's very harmful and or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. All right, so I got to go deeper because some people don't know what the word pervasive means, and that's totally cool. Some people don't know what the word insidious means, which is totally cool. So let me define those, and then I'm going to restate what I said so that everybody can understand, anyone of all ages or developmental levels. Okay? So remember this, it's a very harmful or unpleasant. This is just the word toxic, okay? Just toxic in and of itself. It's very harmful or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way, okay? So what does pervasive mean, okay? Pervasive means unwelcome. It's an unwelcome influence, something you don't want, okay? So it's an unwelcome influence or physical effect that takes over, pretty much. So if it takes over your mind, if it takes over your body, if it takes over your group, if it takes over your house, if it takes over your church, if it takes over your job, okay, and it's unwelcome, all right, and or it causes any type of physical harm, like comes over your body, like cancer, that's pervasive, okay? That's what the word pervasive means. So harmful or unpleasant in a unwelcome way, all right? Or insidious way. So let's talk about what insidious means. Insidious means proceeding in a gradual or subtle way with harmful effects. So it just kind of creeps up on you. All right. So think about a frog in a pot, and the temperature of the water of the pot gradually increases. And by the time the daggone frog knows it's time to get out, it's too late because they dead. All right. So it increases gradually. So the psychological effects that social media has on you is insidious. Sorry, it just is. That's how it's programmed to be insidious. So that way people can understand. I'll give examples. So now let me restate the original definition. It's a very harmful, this is just for the word toxic. It's a very harmful or unpleasant in a unwelcome or subtle or subtly harmful way, all right? It's an unwelcome harm or a subtle harm, okay? So being toxic is harmful or unpleasant in a subtle harmful way or a unwelcome harmful way, all right? So that's what toxic means, all right? If you have questions, please put them in the comments, all right? So where is the origin? So now let's incorporate that into people, okay? Because this was just toxic in and of itself, just something that can be toxic. That's the definition of a toxic thing, okay? So let's incorporate it into the word relationship and people. Let's personify, if you will, the word toxic, all right? So the origin of that word was actually coined by someone by the name of Dr. Lillian Glass. She was a communications and psych expert. So, okay, we could probably go off of what she says. She's a communication and psych expert, and her name is Dr. Lillian Glass. She actually wrote the book Toxic People. And so the term was coined as, I'll just say, as recently as 1995. So this is like, a relatively recent phrase. I wonder what was going on before that. What were people saying before then? I don't remember because I was really little at that time. So I don't really remember, but I should take a look and wonder and ask some people who've been alive longer than I have, like, what was it? What were y'all saying before this term was coined, toxic person or toxic relationship? I'm just curious to know because, I'm sure it's always been a thing, but people have probably identified with it differently as time has progressed. So I just want to know. I'm just curious. But so anywho, all right. So she's who coined it. And so she actually gives us the definition. I think if it's coming straight from the horse's mouth, then that's pretty good resource. If she's the one who coined the term originally, surely I would want to give her definition of the word or the phrase toxic relationship. So a toxic relationship, hold your pants on, okay? A toxic relationship is any relationship between people who do not support each other. Let me read that again. All right. A toxic relationship is any relationship, family, friend, dating relationship, church, job, etc. Any relationship between people, doesn't just have to be two people, but between people, all right? But between usually just means like maybe two, and then among is like three or more. So between two people, we'll just say that. Just make it easier. Any relationship between two people who do not support each other, where there is conflict and one person or both people seeks to undermine the other, where there is competition, where there is disrespect or lack of togetherness and or cohesiveness. All right. So I named some very key points there. In a toxic relationship, one or both people do not support each other. Okay. They are not in support of each other. All right. How do you know? Like, what are your deeper intentions? If your deeper intentions are not to reform, not to add value, not to encourage, lift up, edify, whatever you want to say, add to something or someone, okay? If those are not your intentions in a relationship, if your intentions are self-serving, that's an indicator of possible toxicity. I'm not going to give a blanket statement because I am a therapist. I do have a license. So in order to see if you qualify for toxic people or relationships, you would need to see your therapist, okay? You can come on over to Yellowbird. Like I said, I got 6 of us now. Well, 6 of them. I would be 7, so I don't count myself, even though I do work. So that's weird. So there's 7 of us, but 6 that can 6 that can see you. Okay. So I got 6. We got a male and we got 5 females. And 4 of them are black and 1 of them is white. Just so y'all know kind of what our demographic of clinicians looks like. Okay. All right. And I love them all equally. Okay. So, but yeah, you need to see a therapist. And if your initial inclination is, I don't need to see no therapist, you're probably part of the problem. There you go. All right. It's a boss ass move to get in therapy. Therapy is not for the weak or faint at heart. So if you're a weak person or faint at heart, therapy ain't for you because you're not going to be ballsy enough to come. Like folks think, oh, that means I'm weak. Oh, that means blah, blah, blah. Actually, it's the opposite. Because it takes a strong person to work through their own faults or something inflicted on them by someone else, like to face trauma, to talk through, to take responsibility for your own actions, to not take responsibility for other people's actions, to put up boundaries, to respect boundaries, all that All that takes strength. And people that come to therapy, those are the things that they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to make progressive moves in their life. And so they come see us so that we can help them and we can show them the way as it relates to their personal circumstances. Okay? So it ain't for the weak. It ain't for the whatever other thing y'all say it's for. You got to have some gumption about you to be in therapy. So if you're like, I ain't going to therapy, you're probably part of the problem. All right, so let's proceed. All right, so any relationship between two people that don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other, where there's competition, where there's disrespect, or a lack of togetherness and or cohesiveness. Okay, so all right, so what does that look like? All right, let's talk about what does that look like. So one indicator that you're probably in a toxic situation if the negatives outweigh the positives. All right, and I give my clients a variety of different homework assignments to assess that, to help them really see that. So if that's something that you need to assess, then give us a call. We can help you assess that. I give tools, y'all know I don't like to give blanket stuff on lives, but there are ways to assess, okay, if you are in a toxic situation or if you yourself are a part of the toxicity, okay? So there are ways to assess that, different homework assignments that myself and my associates that we would prescribe in order to get to that answer, okay? But if the negative outweighs the positive, or if it is mentally, emotionally, physically damaging. I'm not just talking about somebody was firm in their boundaries and it hurt your feelings because they said, hey, I don't like it when you disrespect me, and then you get all mad about it and then you want to call them toxic for stating their boundaries. No, sir, no, ma'am. Okay? As my therapist said, no ham, no cheese. I love that. She said, no, sir, no, ma'am, no ham, no cheese. I was weak in my session yesterday. Me and my therapist, it's like weird because we can't be friends because I'm her client. So we can't be friends, but I just love her. If we were not therapist client, we would totally be friends. We would totally be hanging out. And it's like, it's okay. It's okay. I knew that would happen, especially if I got me a woman of color, which is what I have. I knew that was going to happen. I just knew it. So it's just like, I just kind of had to just pick one, the one that really touched my heart. And she touched my heart. And I called her. We've been meeting, and I'll meet with her weekly. And guess what, guys? She will be coming live. Me and her are going to discuss it, but she'll be on a live, so it's going to be great. So there are loopholes to our therapeutic relationship. If it's actually harmful to you, if it's actually damaging to you, okay? Like, have you been damaged mentally, physically, or emotionally? Have you been hit? Have you been gaslit? Because that is a very subtle and insidious, okay? We talked about what the word insidious means, right? So let's go back to it. Insidious means, I didn't want to read pervasive. Proceeding in a gradual or subtle way with harmful effects. That's what gaslighting does. It's little narratives that make a person question their reality, like little subtle things that over time cause a person to question their own reality. Okay? So yeah. Or is it emotionally? Are you assassinating someone's character? You're such a blah, blah, blah person, or you'll never blah, 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 or you are only a blah, blah, blah. those are signs of emotional toxicity, okay? Physical, obviously, if you are forcing sexual acts on someone who does not consent to them or is too young to consent to them. If you're hitting someone and they don't want you to be hitting them, those are physical toxic behaviors because they are unwelcome. They're pervasive, okay? They're unwelcome, all right? And they cause a harmful effect. So there you go. I'm going to tie everything together so we can all get it together, all right? And then, let's see. Negative outweighs the positive. It is mentally, emotionally, or physically damaging. And it's consistent, okay? This is key because no relationship is perfect, all right? No person is perfect. We all have probably at some point exhibited a toxic behavior. Does that mean you're a toxic person? No. Does that mean that you have something to work on? Yes, and that is okay. I myself have exhibited toxic behaviors, okay? That is why I keep myself in therapy because I didn't have, I grew up, my parents got divorced when I was 9. I've talked to you about some other things according to my family, my journey. So with that, if all I've ever been around early in life, I'll say, and not all I ever been around, but if I've consistently seen things that weren't healthy, then I would accept it as normal. So I need to go to therapy to be sure that I'm not doing behaviors that I'm unaware of, because you can be toxic and not know it. So there's that. You can be toxic and not even know you're toxic. So that's scary. I don't want that. I want my therapist to shoot straight and be like, that is a toxic behavior. Stop doing that. This is how. Okay. So yeah, it's consistent though, because every relationship's going to have its ups and downs. So if the negative is outweighing the positive consistently after conversation with this person, and it still continues and no changes are made, this is probably a toxic situation, okay? It's probably toxic if it's consistently harmful, okay? Now, people make mistakes. If you apologize, the way you recover from your mistakes is what matters. So if a person does something harmful to another person, they're like, I'm so sorry. This is what I'm doing to work on not doing that again, or I just won't do that again. Just abide by that person's back. Then they did a toxic behavior, but are they a toxic person? Probably not, because they're willing to change. A person becomes toxic at which point they are unwilling to change their toxic behavior. I'll say it one more time. A person becomes toxic at which point they are unwilling to change their toxic behavior, i.e., I don't need to go to therapy. All right. I digress. Let's continue. So, yeah, it's consistent. It's not just y'all have a falling out or a hard discussion every now and again. It's like consistently emotionally, mentally, or physically harmful in a pervasive and insidious way. All right. And I've already defined all that. So if you missed it, you can replay it when it's over. Okay. So, how does a relationship become toxic? All right, let's talk about that. How does that relationship become toxic? Well, here's one thing. Sometimes it's just a bad pairing of two people. They don't got to be bad people. They don't even got to be toxic people, but their pairings could be bad. Okay, so like I have these boundaries and you have these boundaries. And if our boundaries can't coexist, bumping heads, then it's probably toxic because it's not a good pairing, okay? So, or if we're just unwilling to compromise, we're just like, no, I'm this way and this is the way I'm going to stay, damn it, okay? Then that does create potential for toxic relationship if you're unwilling to compromise. Should you compromise your non-negotiable boundaries? No, okay? Your negotiables are where it gives you room to compromise. So one of my non-negotiables, as y'all know, is that anybody I'm in a close relationship with has to be in therapy, okay? Or interested in therapy or starting therapy or whatever. They have to be like on the therapeutic journey, okay? Or have been to therapy or whatever. Like they have to embrace the idea of therapy for their self, okay? That's what they have to do. Not for me, like, oh, that's so cool, you're a therapist. Ooh, that's so cool, you got a therapy. No, they have to embrace therapy for their self. So if they don't embrace therapy for themselves, it ain't gonna work at all, ever, none, okay? Because I know not only just being a therapist, but also being a client, it requires a lot of work for a person to be a healthy person, especially if they didn't grow up in an ideal situation, which many people didn't. And I'm not saying you were beat or abused. I'm saying you might have had parents that were either physically, emotionally, or mentally absent, or maybe they were just perpetuating toxic behaviors that were passed down to them and they didn't realize it was toxic and you picked up on them and now you're doing them. So it's several different ways. Nobody grew up in a perfect situation. It was imperfect to an extent because guess what? We're all imperfect people. All right. So, could be a wrong pairing. And the way you can avoid a wrong pairing, again, is knowing who you are, knowing what your boundaries are, and then presenting that to someone who shows any type of interest in any type of relationship with you and making sure that it lines up with their boundaries and their who they are, okay? And if it doesn't, that's cool. That doesn't mean anything other than y'all just aren't a good pair, and that's okay. I used to say this, and I still do. Jesus was perfect. For those of you that believe in Jesus, okay? For those of us that believe in Jesus, let me say it like that. If you don't believe in Jesus, just the idea of where I'm going with this, okay? He was perfect, and still everybody didn't like him. So it's just like, it's okay. I don't have to be for everybody. That is fine. All right. I don't necessarily want to be for everybody because that is a huge burden to be someone to everyone. I'm not trying to do that. So if I'm not for you, if we're not a good pair, that's totally cool. I can respect you from afar. All right. So that's totally fine. And I won't be mean. It is no tea, no shade. It's just that we, that's okay. We're different. And that's okay. In ways that we are unwilling to yield on, which is totally fine. Okay. If you want to, snort cocaine and that's what you want to do when we hang out, and you want me to snort cocaine with you and I just can't do that, then it's just not a good pairing. Are you a bad person because you snort cocaine? No, but we're probably not going to have fun together because you're going to want to snort cocaine and I don't. So, it's just not a good pairing and that's okay. All right. Or does that mean that I'm a good person because I don't snort cocaine? No, I know plenty of not great people who don't snort cocaine. And I don't know if I know any. I have met people that do snort cocaine that are not bad. I wouldn't say that they're bad people. No, I wouldn't say that they're bad people. But there are definitely a lot of people that are not good people who don't snort cocaine. So just like that was not any, anyways, that was just an example. Just coming with the examples this evening, just coming with them. All right, so any type of violence, physical, mental, emotional, financial, any type of violence is, a sign of toxicity. Abuse, if there's any type of abuse going on, that's a sign of toxicity. If there's any harassment going on, that's a sign of toxicity. If you're not getting joy, these are a little bit more subtle, because sometimes a person could not be getting joy in a relationship because they're not happy with their self. Okay, so you got to be able to differentiate. Am I not happy because this situation isn't working, or am I not happy because I'm not happy with myself? And that's where therapy will help you delineate between those two. All right, so you're not getting joy and it's consistent. You're sad, angry, anxious, resigned, meaning like you feel like you settled. You're envious of happy couples. That's a sign of toxicity. Does that mean it's absolutely toxic? No, that's something that you would want to evaluate with who? A couples therapist. A couples therapist. And there are a couple of my therapists in my practice who I specifically give couples to, because they're very good with couples. And couples is, so we do provide couples if you have any type of couples concerns or issues. But so what's another sign that you might be in a toxic situation? You notice a shift in your own mental health. So I was in a toxic work environment before I had the joy of Yellowbird counseling group. Before I had the joy of owning and operating, well, not even owning, but definitely operating full time. I worked at a mental health hospital who I do not name, who I do not talk about. Okay. And it was very toxic. And it was toxic because the manager there was not a manager. She was a therapist, but she was also a very unhappy person. Okay. So while her therapeutic skills were great, I will not take that from her. She was not a happy person. And because she was not a happy person, she projected her unhappiness onto the situations around her. And she did that by way of picking people off, all right, at the job. And it wasn't, I thought it was just me, but when other people started seeing how she treated me, they were giving me examples of how she had done that to other people before me, and how before she became a manager, even as just a staff employee, she was picking folks off or picking at folks. And so I come around, 10 years younger, doing my thing, minding my business, trying to build things. She didn't like that because she was not in a position to where she could build. And so, which is no problem. If everybody is not an entrepreneur, okay? Everybody is not. Some people are just workers, and not just, but some people are workers, and that is okay. There is nothing wrong with that, because if it weren't for workers, then those of us that do run a business, we would have no business to run, because you cannot do it single-handedly. You do need a team, all right? I tried it. It don't work to do it single-handedly. And I love all my other therapists, but here's the thing. Not only are they workers, but they're also entrepreneurs, because they have many practices under my practice. So they're still entrepreneurs. They're not, they work for me, but they also don't at the same time. I have it set up like that because I think for people to feel like they're thriving, they have to have autonomy in what they do. All right. They have to have autonomy. They have to be able to have space to do their job. And so I provide that to them by only managing their back end stuff, but I don't manage how they work with their clients. That's on them. We talk about, does their practice style reflect mine in their interview? If it doesn't mean they're a bad therapist. We might just not be a good pairing, okay? And that's okay. Doesn't mean that. I know lots of therapists who I like, who I probably wouldn't work with, and it's not because they're bad therapists. We just, our style is different, and that's okay. They have their people, I have my people, and that's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I still respect them as a therapist, okay? And I still respect the work that they do and who they do it for. All right. So yeah. But anyway, homegirl should have never been nobody manager. A lot of people left when she became, like, a lot of therapists left once she became the manager. They were like, we were just like dropping off like flies. It was like somebody quitting every couple months. All right. But so it was toxic. And I say all that to say it affected my mental health. I actually had a major depressive episode during that time working there. And I had to start back taking medications. And I hadn't taken medications in like 17 years before that. Okay. And when I was taking medications 17 years before that, I don't really even think I needed them like I did when I started working there under her. Okay. So, but I'm better now. I still am taking my medication. I still am in therapy. But you know what I'm saying? That situation still does bother me, but it's, not like taking over my mind. Like, I only think about it when I use the example, but I will work on it in therapy, probably with my EMDR therapist. But yeah, like, it's work trauma and it's not okay. And nobody that is causing other people harm should be managing them. But, politics sometimes overrides that. Nepotism overrides that. Or just seniority sometimes overrides that. So that's what happened. But anyways, it was toxic and I noticed it wearing on my mental health. So it was, not a good situation, an indicator that I needed to exit stage left. All right. Changes in your other relationships. Are you noticing changes in your other relationships because of this toxic situation that you're in? Are you being isolated from your friends and family? Are your friends and family not approving? And I'm not talking about unapproval like you're in a same-sex relationship and they don't approve. I'm not talking about that. That's their problem. I'm talking about, are they not approving because they see this person causing you harm? And they're like, I don't like them for you because they hurt you in these ways. Then that's an indicator that there's probably some toxicity going on. Again, character assassination, control, jealousy, passive aggressiveness, or pettiness. All right. Passive aggressiveness or what? Pettiness. All right. Never taking responsibility and being negative for too long. Like, y'all get into it and I don't talk to you for 3 weeks. Okay. So those are some examples. Okay. And again, I have helped a lot of individuals and couples manage their way through toxicity in a toxic situation. Can a toxic situation be resolved? It can. It actually can. We actually can do that. However, it does require that both people are willing to work on themselves individually and collectively. All right. If you're in a toxic marriage and you come to Yellowbird Counseling, I'm going to be like, you need individual, and we'll do couples together. All right. And I got in-house, everything can be in-house. So like maybe the one partner sees Bridget, the other partner might see Kayla, and then they come to me for couples. That way we can all, if we need to do treatment team to discuss, we can, in order to help both people. All right. We could do that. We don't have to, but we can if y'all request for us to consult. Now, it's got to be both. It can't just be one. Unfortunately, in a toxic relationship, both people are responsible to some extent. All right. It's not just, that one person is toxic. And it could be your responsibility, the fact that you did not enforce your boundaries. And you may not be doing the harmful behavior, but you are allowing it to perpetuate by continuing to stay in that situation. Okay. It could be that, or it could be both people had toxic behavior. But guess what? if both people are willing to change and work, it can be resolved. If they're not willing to change or work, then it can't be resolved. Okay? So it has to be a choice. If you choose it, you can resolve it. Okay? But if you don't choose it, it won't resolve. And if it's just one person, a relationship that you try to fix alone will most definitely stay broken. Okay? So, yeah. Some good forms of therapy, especially for deep-rooted toxicity, of course, would be CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which all of my therapists offer, okay? And then DBT. So those are two good ones. That helps with like mindfulness and regulation, but the parent of DBT is CBT, where we get to the root cause of the thoughts that are causing you to have unhelpful emotions, which are causing you to exhibit unhelpful behaviors, expresses, or responses to things. Okay, so we pull it up so that you don't feel as though that behavior is a necessary part of your toolbox anymore. So if you do that, oh, sorry, somebody was asking to schedule for therapy. I love that they just want to reach out whenever, I love that. So, yeah. So if you're willing to change it, or you're both willing to change it collectively and individually, then yes, there is hope. Okay. It may take some time, but there is hope. Okay. And the amount of time it takes really just depends on the individual. It really just depends on, how much they're willing to work on and how much they have to work on individually and collectively. That's why I say for couples, go on ahead and nip it in the bud. Even if you don't see no problems, I think it's perfectly healthy and proactive for couples to just be in couples therapy. That doesn't mean you have to go to every week. It might be just a monthly check-in or bi-weekly, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. Communication stays open and honest. There's a safe space for y'all to have hard discussions together. So I think that all couples, it's beneficial for you to just be proactive, so you don't got to work through years of stuff. What happens is people come to couples therapy when they're in crisis, and then they want us to fix it right away. And I'm like, no, it's going to take some time. It took y'all some time to get here, so it's going to take us some time to go in a different direction. So if you just go on ahead and start, then you're not going to have to work through all that, okay? And it'll be easier to maintain, especially if both people are in individual already, okay? So, yeah, you're not toxic if you state a boundary and you enforce your boundary. That does not make you toxic. And I have heard people use the word toxic in that way, and it's incorrect. Okay? It is incorrect. Do y'all have... Yep, therapy definitely takes work. Definitely. Do y'all have any questions for me on it? And please share. Please share. Please share. Ooh, I can't wait for y'all to see the new shirt we came out with. We do have the one we came out with this month's feature shirt is ethical but unorthodox. And that's really for therapists who are like myself, we do follow the ethical code, but we not your typical therapist. I'll say that. Your typical earth tones and all we do is sip tea and watch CNN in our free time. That's not, it's a shirt for therapists that don't do that. Ethical but unorthodox. Okay. Thank you, Lakira. Thank you. Hey, y'all need to be signing up for the newsletter, because y'all is letting Lakira win all y'all money. Okay? Y'all is letting her win all y'all money, and that's all I got to say about that. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? And you want to sign up for the newsletter, just simply go to Yellow Bird Counseling, all one word, yellowbirdcounseling.com. And then, you scroll on the homepage, it'll pop up for you to subscribe to the newsletter. That way you'll know, and you're gonna want to be on the October newsletter, because I got so many goodies in there. It is bananas. All right, it's bananas. So you're gonna want to sign up for that. Okay, so yellowbirdcounseling.com, and you can subscribe. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns? Questions, comments, concerns as far as toxicity goes, or toxic people, or toxic relationships. And if you miss it, it's cool. I'll have it up for the replay, so you can watch it on the replay, and it'll be great. Okay. All right. Okay. So if you know, who did the thing? Who did it? We got Lakira, and let's see. Hold on. We got Lakira, of course. And we got Natasha. Yep. All right, so I'm going to count backwards. So Natasha will be 1 and Lakira will be 2. All right. Let's put it in the number generator. What is it? It's $100 Cash App giveaway. So if you was on the newsletter, you would know. Dang, did my phone die? Instagram don't never get no love. Oh, well, my phone died, so Instagram's not going to know. Dang, my phone died. Whoever wins, y'all know I'm going to send y'all the money as soon as my phone turns back on. Let me go get the charger. That way I can start charging. Be back. That way it can turn on real quick, so I can make sure that whoever wins gets the money. Dang, it just died. That was really sad. It dies. Instagram, some of my lives don't even get to go up there because my phone be dying. I should do better. That's my fault. Okay. So Natasha is 1 and Lakira is 2. All right. So they got a 50-50 chance of winning. Let's pull up the number generator. All right. Number generator. All right. Let's see. Random.org. Okay. All right. Let me share the screen. Okay. Share screen. Okay, share screen. Okay. I want to share a tab. Okay, I'm going to just share this tab. All right, there. Okay. So the minimum is 1, the maximum is 2. All right. So let's generate. 1! Natasha, you won! Yes, girl! Woo! Can get you that fit for this weekend. You could go to brunch. You got brunch money now. You could get your mimosas. You get your mimosas at brunch. Dang. So she won, y'all. Yes. My phone is dead, but I am going to send it to you. I promise. Actually, this is what I want you to do, Natasha. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to send me a request. Okay? Send me a request. And my Cash App is dollars. I'm going to just put in the comments. Okay? Send me a request so that when my phone turns back on, that's so ghetto. I know. Super ghetto. I know. So that when my phone turns back on, I'm going to give it to you. And you know I give it to you because you be here and you've seen me. So, okay. There we go. Thanks, Blue G. So just send me a request, all right? Then make sure you post it on your page, like post when I sent it to you so folks know that you actually got it, okay? Oh, no. Yeah, you can post it there, or you can send me the screenshot and I'll put it on the Yellowbird Counseling page so folks know you actually got it, okay? I just want y'all to know I do actually send it. It ain't no cap over here. So send me the request. I will send it to you once my phone turns back on. I've had it off the charger all day. I'm one of those people that the charger will be sitting right by them and don't plug it up. That's weird. It's weird. I gotta talk to my therapist about that. Why am I letting my phone die? That's self-sabotaging behavior. Why do I just let my phone die? All right, cool. Thank you, girl. All right. Again, please share this on the replay. If you are not on the newsletter, go to yellowbirdcounseling.com right now and subscribe because it's going to be bananas. We got a lot of good stuff coming out in October and through the remainder of the year that you do not want to miss. All right. As always, I love y'all and I will see you next week.